Have you ever wondered why it's the witches who are hunted and killed, and not the wizards? Could it be because the rulers of this world actually know that the Messiah will return in the body of a woman, as was initially done before?
You'd kill to look younger, but eternal life is terrible for your skin. Introducing the souls of innocent children. This proven ancient formula will give you the youthful, radiant appearance any witch would die for.
I am beautiful.
But wait, there's more. For a limited time, we'll throw in the spirit of a second unwilling soul absolutely free. Look younger or cease to exist entirely.
Bye-bye.
Watch Hocus Pocus tonight at 7:35, part of 31 Nights of Halloween.
If a woman was a healer, had healing knowledge through herbs or touch, all of a sudden she was a witch and the church said she's got to be killed. They burn her at the stake. This religion going around the world to enlighten people is just not what happened. A lot of people are following that religion based on ancient fears from their ancestors who were forced into it. And now everybody's been given the programming code over and over again. When you go into the source, you found out how bloody and gory and disgusting it was. And then you go, wow, really? What they've done is they've taken that thing, that religion or that spiritual understanding, and they've remixed it for their own personal desires and agendas.
Lower your branch and touch my shoulder, please. Lower. Lower. And move closer to my voice, please. Can you come closer and move closer to my voice? Closer. 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 Thank you.
Okay, I have to try this. Hello, tree. Can you get closer to me and touch my face? Can you please get closer to me and touch my face, tree? You can get closer, you can touch my face. You can move closer to my voice. Come closer. Come closer. Come closer to my voice. You can touch my face if you want. Yes. Come closer to my voice. Touch my face. Afro. Yes. You made it. Ah. Thank you. You can touch my face. Oh, that's like a hug.
Hot take, what if all of the good guys in the Bible were actually the bad guys because the book was written by the bad guys? This is the fun story time retelling of Marilyn Stone's book, When God Was a Woman, that documents the actual history. Let's talk about the ancient origins of the broligarchy. For 25,000 years, people worshipped the goddess in matriarchal societies. Women were in power until the racist, sexist, colonizing bro clan decided to make a ruckus. They would go around in their little boats to these matriarchal cities and just wipe people out and steal all their stuff, including their religions. So the way they justified going to a place that wasn't theirs and putting themselves in power is they would rewrite the religious stories and just swap out the name of the goddess for their own bro clan man god. And there's really good evidence that they just impostered their way into Hebrew culture that later became the stories of the Bible. So remember, matriarchal societies were about taking care of everyone. It was inclusive, it was communal. And bro clan was all about, I want to be in power, I want all the best stuff, I don't want to work, I want everyone else to work for me. Because man, God says I'm better. So in the Bible, they talk about the 12 tribes of Israel. And it's very likely that the Levites, one of the 12 tribes, was really just the bro clan setting themselves up. When it was time for war, oh, those 11 tribes, they can go and fight, but the Levites / bro clan, I'll stay back and I'll toot my little trumpet and tell you when to fight and tell you when to stop and not get hurt. And instead of the temple being where they were growing communal crops and taking care of everyone, bro clan / Levites were like, actually, all these crops are for us and we're going to be the religious leaders. Oh, and burnt sacrifices, everyone has to take your very best cattle and food and crops and bring all of your best of everything to us first. For man god, literally ancient broligarchy.
Men created religion because they were jealous that women created life. So they had to make up an all-seeing, all-knowing, all-powerful sky daddy to make them feel better about their inadequacies. They then went on to create an absolutely ridiculous story that women came from a man's rib, which we all know is absolutely ridiculous. Everyone that has ever been or ever will be has come through the womb of a woman. And no amount of sky daddy stories will change the absolute fact that the XX chromosome is the foundation for all life. And the divine feminine has no equal opposite or superior. She only has her mutations and her creations. The Y chromosome is in fact and indeed the degenerated mutation of the X. And every fetus begins as female until it mutates into a male. And that, my friends, is facts, not male ego-driven religious fantasy. So to sum it all up, your sky daddy isn't real, God isn't a man, women didn't come from men are not our natural born leaders, nor are they superior to us in any way, shape, or form. And ladies, we gave birth to all this shit. Act like it.
Realizing witchcraft. Without witchcraft, there will be no phone. There will be no computer.
I think I dispute that. For you to say witchcraft is phone, how?
Before you dispute, you would have had fact.
Let me hear.
You get my point?
Yes, please.
Now, witchcraft is an advanced science. Listen to this. From etymology, you can decipher the code. Why is it called witchcraft? Witch
and the
craft. Now, aircraft. Okay, what is craftsmanship? A craftsmanship is a set of skill that can be transferred from the knower to a seeker, right? Which means it's a knowledge that you can transfer to another person, right? So if the name is witchcraft, that means if you are a seeker and I transfer that esoteric knowledge to you, you would know. Now get my point now. The bedrock of invention is hidden under witchcraft. Are you listening? Now, I'm about to blow your brain. Don't shout yet. Why is it that your programming language answers Oracle? Calm down, no. Don't shout. Why is it that your programming language answers Python?
These are men names given.
Men names.
Yes.
To you, it is men names because you don't understand numerology and nomenclature. There is nothing mere in Freemason. What is Freemasonry? Coding truth in plain language, but you will not understand. There is nothing mere in words, because words are spell. Listen to this.
Yes.
When these people came to our land, they gave us a good spell. They casted a good spell on us. The word good spell is the etymology that gave you the word God spell. So they casted a spell on you, you fell for it. I am telling you that the bedrock of invention is witchcraft. You said how? I am trying to break it down to you. I pointed at one. The programming language. What is programming language? Do you know how to program?
Do you know
programming?
I have a little knowledge.
Now, I can write HTML5, Joomla, and Bootstrap. Now, the question becomes, as a programmer, JavaScript, Python, Oracle, when I look at the script, I laugh. Do you know why I laugh?
No.
For example, it will make sense now. The word pharmacy is from the word pharmakia, which means to conjure. So the medicine you are taking is a product of witchcraft. Conjuring. Do you know that pharmacy means to conjure?
Yes.
I know.
Are you getting the sense now? So everything is embodied on witchcraft. But the thing is, which of the craft are they using? Which of the craft are they using? When the Igbo people says, Kaije nafa, Koboyafa, they are trying to tell you that homonyms and homophone, every word that sounds alike has connection.
What if the real Messiah was a woman who's been erased from history on purpose? And what if I told you there's an ancient gospel deliberately banned by the early church that says exactly this? This forbidden text is called Three Forms of First Thought, also known as trimorphic protonoia, and it reveals a huge secret that the Messiah isn't just a guy named Jesus, it's actually a woman named Barbelo. What, you've never heard of her? Well, of course not, because the church made sure that you wouldn't. Barbelo isn't just any woman. She's the first thought of God, and she annihilates traditional ideas of divinity. In the Three Forms of First Thought, she says, I wore Jesus. Wore Jesus. Like clothing. Jesus wasn't just her messenger, he was her avatar. Barbelo is saying she was literally moving through Jesus, speaking through him, and acting through him. And what if I told you that she wasn't just in Jesus, but that she's inside you right now? But see, according to this banned text, there's also a dark being and his offspring called archons that are keeping you from realizing the power that you really have. We're about to unravel the identity of this hidden female messiah, expose the false god and his minions that are keeping humanity in darkness, and finally, we're going to reveal how this incredible knowledge empowers you to take back your divine power now. Our story starts not in some mystical heaven, but actually in the Egyptian desert in 1945. So picture this. Someone in the sands near Nag Hammadi stumbles upon a huge sealed jar. Now, I've seen enough movies to know you do not open giant jars buried in the Egyptian desert. That's basically ancient curse 101. But this guy, he opens it up anyway, and hold on to your holy water, because what these were, they weren't just random books. They were forbidden gospels that were banned by the church authorities way back around 367 CE. Inside, there were 13 of these books that were hidden for over 1600 years. Bishops like Athanasius ordered that books like this were to be destroyed. But luckily for us, some brave soul, maybe a monk, couldn't bear to burn them and hid them in a jar, hoping that future generations, like us, might find them and see what the church was hiding. Because, you know, if there's one thing the early church loved, it was keeping you from thinking too hard. But what exactly made these texts so dangerous that someone risked their life to hide them? What forbidden truth was worth preserving at all costs? Turns out, a hell of a lot. But one of the biggest blasphemies of these texts was all about Barbelo. Who is she? Barbelo is the hidden queen of early Christianity, the first emanation of the source of all existence. Not the first created being, she's not a creature, but the first unveiling of God's own essence. So now just imagine the panic attack early church leaders must have had. A divine feminine power? That makes too much sense. Quick, hide it before people start respecting women. And speaking of respecting women, did you know that the New Testament explicitly demands that women be quiet? In 1 Timothy, it says, I do not permit a woman to teach or to assume authority over a man. She must be quiet. In 1 Corinthians, Paul doubles down on this, saying, women should remain silent in churches. They are not allowed to speak, but must be in submission, as the law says. So powerful feminine voices, like Barbelo's, were way too revolutionary, too threatening to the patriarchal order. Barbelo was erased, banned, and forgotten because acknowledging her existence would shatter their carefully constructed hierarchy built around a male god and male leaders. It's almost like they knew exactly how powerful women and the divine feminine within us could actually be. But what were they exactly afraid that you were going to discover? We're going to find out. My name is Morg. I'm an ex-Christian revealing hidden knowledge the church doesn't want you to know. And one of the secret scriptures found buried in Nag Hammadi was titled the Secret Book of John, where the Apostle John receives a shocking vision from Jesus. It's revealed that the true God is not the God of the Bible, that the true God is something called the One. Jesus says, the One rules all. Nothing has authority over it. It is not right to think of it as a God or as like God. It is more than just God. It is utterly perfect light. So Jesus is telling John that God isn't a bearded guy chilling up in the clouds throwing lightning bolts at sinners, that it's pure cosmic consciousness. But guess who shows up next? Yeah, Barbelo. Jesus continues by saying, Barbelo is from his image in his light. She is the initial power. She is the universal womb. She is before everything. So Barbelo is essentially the first thought of the source itself, all existence. Barbelo's just one step away from the highest power in all reality. She's literally described as the universal womb. Now, we're not talking Mother Mary here. We're talking about the cosmic womb that birthed reality itself. She predates literally everything, planets, stars, time, and space, and she isn't just hanging around waiting for commands. She is the original power, the divine engine that started this whole cosmic show. And here's the part that would make your Sunday school teacher throw his Bible across the room. Barbelo isn't just God's feminine sidekick. No, she's the whole freaking Trinity. Another forbidden book found buried in Nag Hammadi is called Trimorphic Protanoia, which means 3 forms of first thought. But remember, Barbelo is the first thought. So this book describes her 3 forms. So let's break this down, because traditional Christianity tries real hard to keep this under wraps. See, Barbelo takes 3 forms: the thought, the voice, and the word. But there's a deeper secret here, because this text also describes her 3 forms as, wait for it, the Father, the Mother, and the Son. In 3 forms of first thought, Barbelo herself says the voice that came from my thought exists as the Father, the Mother, the Son. And in the secret book of John, Jesus confirms this. See, Jesus transforms into 3 forms